Alright, well, how about you talk about what you do?
I run DFProfiler, the boss map, and coming soon, the Flash replacement. And coming after that, deadfrontier.info.
When did you get DFProfiler?
Later 2017, during when DRLP was shutting down, the predecessor to DFProfiler.
Like late 2017? Because I think
Yeah,
I was
it was
joining
pretty late.
the Chaos Division when you were getting that around
Yeah,
that time.
Chaos Division just split from Hopeless, and you joined up. All about within the same window.
What have you added since you got DFProfiler? Like features and.
That's a list that's hard to keep track of.
Alright, well, what was the first thing you added then?
The first thing, I believe, I'd have to look at the first side to confirm it, but from my memory, it was the OA check on your profile. So it would just play the siren during a OA,
Alright,
depending on the user settings.
that was the Windows notification thing too, right?
That was the predecessor to the Windows notification and
Oh, okay.
the entire integration of that.
Yeah, so it was like a rewrite then.
Yeah, like the OA check was the very first thing to come, and then the notification system was a rewrite of that with extended functionality.
Yeah, like the inventory slot counts and stuff like that. When did you add the multi-view thing? Because I know that was added kind of early on as well.
The multi-view,
Yeah, so you could view multiple characters at once. Like,
that was a pre-existing feature from DRLP, but I expanded on it to include a merging tab and a simple tab. Because the original setup for it was ugly. It was terrible. But after my additions, it no longer looked terrible. You could click on simple view or merge view, and you'd be able to see cumulative values for everything.
yeah, so you could like have multiple like merging ults or maybe service ults or something like that.
Yeah,
When did you get around to the boss map? Because that was a little bit later, maybe 2018-ish, I think, or maybe early 2018.
that was early to mid 2018 when a non-competing site at the time, Hollow Prestige, started mining Monero, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And my original goal was to never make a boss map, never make a wardrobe, never step on the features of Hollow Prestige.
Right.
I had no intention. But when the Monero thing happened, I created a boss map during a TS run week for Chaos Division.
Yeah, our first run too.
Yeah, the first Chaos Division run. I created the boss map using a Walmart laptop that cost about $400, and just I wrote all my batch files, scripts, FTP stuff by hand in that week and created the boss map.
And that early iteration, didn't you have like multiple accounts spread out throughout the inner city trying to collect that data?
They were all standing, mind you. The data was ripped from the client. This wasn't like the modern system that does it a completely different way. The data was ripped directly from the client, and I had 5 accounts, DFP boss map 1 through 5, which they're all deleted now because they were level 1s that I never logged into again, and they just stood there in the city
Right.
in their own little single player instance with a I think what I did was I opened the menu, which would still send boss data to the client, and I ripped that data.
What, like the AFK menu?
Yeah.
Okay. And so all of those accounts would just gather all of the files.
They would gather the data. My computer, originally it was my desktop for the first few days, but that was completely inefficient with the processor I had running. So that's where the laptop came in. And it would just run all these accounts when the laptop was eventually there. It ran the accounts with automatic batch files running, just infinitely going.
Right. So, and this was a laptop that was on 24/7 too.
Yeah, so if I experienced internet outages or anything like that, the boss map would go down.
Yeah, I remember that. How long did that first iteration take of the boss map? Like a week, maybe?
To roll out and get going.
Yeah, because I remember you finished near the end of our clan TS run, I think, for like the very basic like necessities of a boss map, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I believe it was, I'm gonna say 3 to 4 days.
Okay.
It had to be 3 to 4 days of just
Yeah.
me constantly slamming my head against a keyboard until it was complete.
Did you ever figure out how Hollow Prestige was making theirs, or is that what your current system is kind of somewhat similar to?
I don't know the exact way Hollow Prestige is making theirs, but my system, I assume, is similar to theirs.
Oh, okay.
Although I would say mine is more dynamic than theirs.
And I think you rewrote the boss map a couple of times, right? Or at least once.
It's gone through, I want to say 4 rewrites or iterations,
Oh wow.
whichever you prefer.
What caused the different like rewrites? Like what did you see where you're like, okay, this needs to be rewritten again? Was it just like working with it, or?
Yeah, it was just the pain of using it. Like for your average day user, it worked as intended.
Yeah.
But for me, there was things that were wrong. It was slowing down the server. Well, it wasn't slowing down the profiler, but it was slowing down its own server that was on.
Right.
The first rewrite was when I eventually got the access to the information I needed, and that was getting rid of the need for the laptop and all the other data. Like all that data collection was now worthless.
Yeah.
So I threw that away as soon as I could. I still have the laptop, but I threw away the use of it.
Right, right. Do you think you'll like ever write it again, or is this like as good as it's gonna get without being a waste of time working on it over and over, or rewriting it over and over?
In its current form, it will probably remain until DeadFrontier.info comes out. But for now, I'm done rewriting it. It's written on shaky ground, but I've gotten it to the point where no matter what admin does, it can handle a pretty big game update.
Right. And this current version, isn't it serving like a bunch of other bots right now too, for like Discord bots and stuff?
Yeah, it uses JSON data to give the information to the actual map that the client sees when they visit the site. So, because the way Hollow Prestiges works is you have to reload the page for the latest data. The way mine works is it dynamically reloads the page, which that JSON file is available for developers to use, although I prefer they ask permission to use it. They can write their own, their boss maps.
Right.
Or their bots.
Yeah, because I've seen a couple of like notification bots. Like Barney has a bot. One Potato 2 has a bot, and I think wasn't there a couple people trying to make apps with it or something like that?
I wouldn't really know about the apps, but I remember one person talking about a Dead Frontier app they were making, and I offered them my data so they could make it work.
So basically, your boss map's not only like powering your website, but a couple of other people's tools too. Then.
Yeah, a lot of people depend on my boss map.
Is the Devil Hound bot notification thing?
Yeah, the Devil Hound bot is run off my boss map.
Oh, okay.
So it is one in one for my boss map. You can even add Discord servers to its list of servers it sends messages to. So like the Dead Frontier official Discord isn't the only one that gets messages from that bot, and any Discord can be added, including app mentions.
Right. So it's a pretty big feature of the site. Do you know like how much traffic is just the boss map compared to like the profiler or like other pages?
I would say they're hand in hand in the amount of traffic. It's
so like half and half then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can give you an approximation of anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 users, but even that's not accurate. That doesn't account for ad blocks and other data like that.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to be adding any more additional tools, or are you going to wait for your Dead Frontier Info website project to come around?
That's a tough one, actually, because with the Dead Frontier Flash replacement, there's a lot of things I'm putting into it that would have been great tools to have on the profiler. And as many people who are around me know, I already have an avatar replica system, I guess would be the way to put it.
Right.
Where I can replicate Dead Frontier's avatars one for one, which would be a great wardrobe tool. It's just not in the ready stages yet.
Well, did you want to talk about DFI then? Or Dead Frontier Info? Like what your plans are with that?
DeadFrontier.info is my noble practice to break away from the DRLP source code completely and implement all my own handwritten code. I don't like using other people's code. I handwrite a lot of things, even if they've been done before, because there's no point in having extra features that no one uses just sitting around on a server.
Creating load times and stuff, yeah. And I think you were talking about how you kind of want to move away from just the profiler. Like you already have done that with a couple of like external resources, or even like some embedded tools like the marketplace media made and the stat calculator, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the goal has been to make the one-stop shop for Dead Frontier a better thing, or something that is at least obtainable.
Right. So basically, it would be like my goals with my website, DF Buddy, but obviously you have like a lot more built on it to be able to do that.
Yeah. The biggest thing is with DFI specifically, I want to remove the dependency on the wiki. I want to remove the dependency on as many external tools as possible and create the one-stop shop.
Right. It's not just like tools. But it's also wiki information like weapon data parsing and guides you're thinking about as well.
Yeah, if users are, interested, I would gladly host some guides and, that were written by users and they'd be verified. It's kind of a general information place.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because DRLP, before it was the profiler website, was a website for like guides. It didn't have tools and stuff, so you're taking it the extra mile there. But I just thought it was kind of interesting that it's dipping back into its roots a little bit, even though it's a different owner.
It's not some kind of, how do I put this? People would think that me stepping on the wiki and stepping on Hall of Prestige and stepping on any other Dead Frontier Guide website would be some kind of hate-fueled, I want to be the only one kind of thing, when it's actually the opposite.
Yeah, I've seen you try to work with other websites and whatnot.
Like, I even tried talking to the guy who runs Hall of Prestige, but I feel like we were butting heads the entire time. The main thing is I want DFP or DFI or whatever future iterations may be called to be a safe place for people to actually get their information.
Right.
The thing that prompted DFI specifically was a wiki replacement, because the original wiki is ad filled and really disgusting to use.
Very slow load times, that kind of thing, and the information isn't always correct. And with this method you're taking, it'll auto update if there's any buffs to weapons or new weapons.
All the information from DFI will be 100% accurate, guaranteed from the game.
Right.
No guesswork. Nobody going along and saying, "Oh, I edited it. Ha ha ha. Now everything's wrong." It will be from Dead Frontier. Any minuscule change that happens on Dead Frontier will reflect on DFI.
Right, so I wouldn't say removes the need for editors, but it definitely lowers how often it needs to be done.
Yeah, so like boss guides and anything that's written by hand will need editors or someone who cares about it and actively wants to work with it.
Right.
But people like me who just work on the back end stuff will just be able to, sit back, relax, add stuff if it's needed, but not because it's needed.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because it like takes some of the weight off of the people that run the wiki. Like right now, it's just myself, Barney HD, and we have another administrator. Insert your name here right now. So it's just 3 people trying to maintain this massive thing. So if you could remove like even half of that, I think it'd be pretty helpful.
I mean, one thing I noticed for the Halloween event, even,
right,
the wiki said, I think it said the Slendermen were 30,000 HP.
Oh yeah, that might have been changed because he reuses them,
Yeah, I mean, it was changed. When I looked at the data I had available to me, it turned out it was 60,000. Major change. I'm not blaming the wiki guys for it, but their XP also changed too, and that changed the calculations for determining their XP and how much you should be thinking you're getting per hit on them.
So it's just more accurate information, a lot easier. Like if a new item is added to the game, it'll display on your page without someone needing to go and add it, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a system built to solve some of the major problems that exist with the current dependency on a user-edited wiki.
Somewhat like related to the Halloween event we just had, do you think your website will also show the contents of like the loot box items, quote unquote, like the trick-or-treats or Easter eggs and stuff?
Like the rates you should expect from them and all that?
Yeah, like the items and stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Because of the way I'm getting the data, it's not only possible, it's likely. I can produce accurate rates, or at least what my system should determine as accurate rates, and users won't have to guess that, oh, I may only get 1 heart from this, or I could get something else. They will know approximations of what they should be getting.
Well, I bring it up because Deader V had a thread up about the Halloween event items and the trick or treat contents, and I think he had to edit the contents like 3 or 4 times because of how quickly they changed.
Yeah, that changed my calculations all day with him constantly changing it with admin.
Well, I just think it'd be nice just to have that automatically update for you, like this project of yours is going to be doing. So,
I mean, that's gonna be the other thing about DFI is I don't want DFI to be the only website with tools, which is why all the information will be accessible. At least maybe not all of it one for one, but approximations and other data will be accessible through JSON files on the site, because I can't just hand out every little bit of information. I'd get spanked for that.
well, I think the main benefit of this project is that you don't have to know about, like, it's not secret, but it's not also that well known, like all stats page or like the DPS page.
If you look through many of my posts about DFProfiler, maybe not on Dead Frontier itself, but in Discord, I've linked to Dead Frontier's all stats, or at least my parser for it. It's no secret they exist, but the problem is that people don't know it's there.
Yeah, and even if you do find it, it's kind of difficult to shift through, especially the all stats.
The all stats is awful.
Yeah, it's just a wild text.
I mean, I understand what the all stats does, what its purpose is. It's just for your average user who's trying to find any little bit of information, the all stats is not the place to go. You need it to be parsed for you.
Going back to the profiler a little bit, that's also going to be included in DFI, right?
Oh yeah. DFI will be a maybe not one-for-one replacement of the profiler, but it's going to have
Basically, like what people are used to.
yeah, it's gonna have everything that does matter on it.
And if someone has like a DF profiler link in their like signature on the forums or something, you're also going to have that redirect, I think you said.
Yeah, it's just gonna go straight to the profiler or to DFI instead of to the profiler, because the current issue that I noticed, and I mean, there's nothing I can really do about it, and there's nothing I will do about it because, reasons. Any old DRLP link does not lead to DFProfiler.
Like it just it's a dead end URL if it's DRLP, right?
Yeah.
And this would make it so people that wouldn't have to edit their signatures. They could, but it'd still get them to the place where, like, if they have a bookmarked list of like alts and stuff, it'd still get them there.
Yeah, it would just bring them straight to where they need to go. No need for updating your forum links, no need for changing everything, because people don't like to do that. And one of my biggest things with DFProfiler since the beginning has been convenience.
Even Dead Frontier Info, it seems very convenience focused for the players, really.
I consider that one of the number one things during web development as a whole.
Do you think you'll be collaborating with anyone else for like additional tools or anything?
I would like to collaborate with anyone who has programming experience and wants to make a tool, but once again, that comes down to what does your tool do? What is it? Does it accomplish something that the profiler or its extended tools don't already do?
Have you worked with anyone else besides Medial for like the tools he made?
I don't recall working with anyone.
Oh, okay.
He is, I would say, he's my my go-to for making tools for DFP.
So he was like a first, basically.
I guess it was kind of like this mutual run into each other, where we just kind of started talking, and I told him I want some tools, and he said, yeah, I can make those tools easy, and just kind of kicked off from there.
If I remember correctly, like the stat calculator didn't take him long at all, and the marketplace was pretty quick as well.
I mean, he has some background with the marketplace, but I'm not going to go into that.
What about like the custom profiles? Like, how did you come up with that?
I actually got contacted by some core members. I think they were core members at the time. God, I still have the chat log somewhere, but it's so gone on so many external hard drives I couldn't tell exactly who it was.
So someone approached you first about it then.
Yeah, they I believe they wanted transparent names, and they wanted to charge real life money for it, which I'm kind of against for the most part. It kind of evolved from there, actually.
So, like, did they set, like, the precedent for how much it costs? How much does it cost?
2 mil just for your name, and then 5 mil for a fade on your name and an entire profile change.
Okay, and that's, like, lifelong changes, too, isn't it?
Yeah, like, if you come back a week, a month, a year later, and you say, hey, I decided I didn't like my current change, could you update it? Yeah, of course. You're paying for a service.
So did that first like encounter kind of set the precedent for how much those cost, or was that more so like you considering like having to store all that CSS and like how it would affect your load times?
Yeah, I considered a lot about the CSS and load times and how it would affect things, but it's no secret I have multiple servers, under my wing. So like the CSS is not hosted on the same server as the profiler. It's all separate. There's no problems with that.
But that's mostly like where the costs come from, though, right?
It's where some of the costs come from, yeah, the just hosting raw data.
Yeah, and I guess the other part would just be like lifelong customization. That's pretty much where that cost comes from.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's a one-time payment. Like people have tried paying me over and over again. It's like once you buy it, you're done. You don't have to pay again.
What about people that want like something super like out of lines of what you usually do, like gradients and stuff like that? Would you charge extra for that?
Oh, like animations and all that.
Yeah.
I typically put it in the same pool. Yeah, it's definitely a case by case. Like if you want something that's truly unique, you're the only one who has it, I will charge an extra mil or two, just because of that request.
Yeah, it's not just a structure that you have set already. You have to make it now.
It's why the faded name costs 5 mil, because it's hand done. Even custom profiles with custom text is, even though there's a suite for that on the site, it's still mostly handcrafted.
By custom text, do you mean the font?
Yeah, and most people don't realize it, or some people have realized it, a lot don't. I'm not the only one doing the custom stuff for the profiler anymore. I've recruited help.
Who could they contact if they were interested in that?
Barney HD, the moderator, global mod. He's more active than me. He probably gives more care. I'm better at it in the sense of I know all the CSS, how it all works. He's just...
So if it's like a standard kind of custom profile, they should probably go to him if they want a really quick response, basically.
Well, they should go to him for quick responses, but he'll still come to me if it's something that's out of his realm, which I prefer.
Did we talk about clans? The clan customization?
That's 25 mil to 30 mil. The only time it costs more than 25 mil is if it's like really, really custom. Like some people wanted stuff similar to Sanguine Embers, and
I just assumed that the clans would cost more because it has more showtime, I guess you could call it, on like record boards and stuff like that.
well, it's not just that. It's the main reason for the costing more is the load time it adds, because most clans who buy it have 20 users.
Yeah, so it's not very much money to like pull together, but you're also serving it to all of those people, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of people who will see it, and it's a lot more code. And Barney can't do clan ones. That one has to be handcrafted.
I think I'm out of questions.
Great.